Testing, testing.
I think we're live.
Are we live? It is good to be alive. Hope everybody's doing well. Uh, Personally, I've had a grounding of sorts. The weather changed where we're at quite violently. A tornado came through with a lot of straight line winds, like probably 5 miles away, and it hit a town pretty close called Rogers, Arkansas, which is very close to Bentonville. Bentonville had some damage, but I think Rogers had far, far worse. Uh, uh, Tornado came in, and that's why you see so many. If you've been on the YouTube channel, that's why you see so many videos of the damage. Not because I think that you guys in particular would be interested in that. It's kind of a marking of what happened in my life and in my neighborhood and to people that I happen to know. It could have been me, my wife, and people that are very, very close to us that were heavily affected. Lost uh, we lost electricity for 4 days, so that means some damage for inside the freezer and so on. Uncomfortableness, that's nothing compared to what people that lost their home, smashed cars, no job, or all the other things that come with that kind of tragedy. So with that, uh, I would say that we all need to remember that we at any time could have some kind of natural disaster happen to us. Um, and every part of the country has the possibilities of snowstorms or windstorms or fires or hurricanes and uh, tornadoes and just high winds, floods, droughts, uh, and so many, many other things like falling rocks. Uh, I would say that we as individuals probably take for granted what we have. I mean, I'm sure that some of us are aware, but you don't until it gets really close. Uh, you don't really understand just how good things are. So I feel for all the people that are suffering at in Iowa and so on and so on, so many other places. And you can't fix all the things that happens to those people. Wished I could. Uh, but at some point, maybe when I'm able to, I mean, I do little things, but I would like to have done more to help people like that that you might have seen in the videos or seen in your own neighborhood. Perhaps I should get more involved with how to be directly. I'm personally directly involved when it comes to charity. I don't just hand people money um, on the side of the road. I get to know them first as much as I can. And so I don't want to just give them money. I want to see what it is that they need. So I have to get to know them. Like, what do you need? Furniture? Do you need da da da? And do you need help uh, getting a vehicle, getting a job, all those things? So I try to get personally involved instead of just handing money and feeling okay, I did good. Um, so, sometime in the future, I would like to be more involved with that. I don't quite have the ability to do it. Uh, I'm doing a little, but I think I could do more. So, in that light, might discuss what we could all do to kind of prepare for some kind of a natural disaster. What would that be? And one of the things that I have at our house is what you call a go bag. I don't. That is a backpack that is packed, a packed backpack. So,
It looks like we may have to.
got a problem?
Yeah, we might have to shut, stop, and then start again.
Looks like we're going to have to shut and start again, huh?
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Mm. So,
Yep. Okay, I think we're back.
so hopefully you guys are back. One of the things we'll probably do very, very soon is get a better computer that will handle this huge program that seems over the top fat with stuff that's not needed. So I shouldn't blame it on the program. It's the computer. We need to get a better computer, an even bigger one, which is seems to be pedaling a treadmill. Anyway, in the what I was talking about was I have a go bag. In that go bag, there are flashlights. One of them that you can shake and it makes light. There's batteries. There's a first aid kit, a weather radio, uh, a number of different kinds of bandages.
I
Uh,
need to update our bandages.
and yeah, we kind of use those. Uh, an emergency sleeping bag, I believe, is in there. A couple, three of them, which
Bunch of lights.
yeah, we really are believers in lights. For some reason, tornadoes in this area come through at night. Um, so all those things that you might use, you might consider doing that. So the simplest of things, and like candles, matches, lighter, things like that. And you can improve it as you go along, but you should have something you can grab real quick and be prepared to be without electricity or even a roof over your head. So, uh, a go bag would be a good thing to have in your house. That weather radio that allows you to get, because when you use a cell phone, you when that tower loses power to broadcast your cell phone signal, you don't have any cell phone. Or if everybody decides to call all at the same time, which happened here, you have very, very limited, if not no cell phone service. And we rely that that cell phone will be there, but you can't count on that, especially when a tornado goes through or a hurricane or a flood, just a whole lot of rain washing things away, high winds. Those towers are susceptible to that. The internet is no longer available at your hand like we're used to. Uh, so you need to start thinking about things that you would need if you didn't have your phone. So you kind of have overlapping responsibilities or uses out of these things, like a pocket knife with multiple uh, things that it does, like a Swiss Army knife with a spoon and a fork and a can opener. Uh, all those little things that you would like. I think I need that, and if I was, had to get out of my house and lose everything to a fire or anything else, you could just grab that bag, put it in your vehicle, and go wherever you go, or just take off running. If it's a tornado, you would go to a very low spot where you can get out of the wind into a ditch or something like that. If you don't have a tornado shelter. So, you know, let's start thinking of those things before they actually happen. There's a guy that my boys listen to. His name is Ryan Hall, y'all.
He's really good.
He keeps up with the storms. And there's a number of other ones out there that are focused on what the storms might do. They can actually show you where the possible tornado is more likely, and they have the tornado chasers and storm chasers that can actually see it, video of it, all that kind of thing. Um, there's a lot of other guys out there that do the same thing. So I would suggest that we could use that as a resource as to know that it's coming. So I would suggest that we all could do a little bit to review what we need to do to survive electronically. I would say that in a disaster, if all money is in a debit card, how much of that money you're going to be able to get available to you if all you have is a debit card and there's no electricity and there's no, let's say there's no bank. How are you going to get your money? How are you going to buy things? There's no internet. By the way, that was a problem. People couldn't sell things. Stores had to shut down because they had no internet, and that they totally rely on debit cards and credit cards to sell things and for people to purchase things. So I think we should look into whether or not tying up all our money into digital things is going to be the answer when, you know, if everything collapses where it comes. And we had something very close to that not too long ago. They thought maybe it might be another one. We're due for one. uh, so uh, that would mean all of our electronics are gone. And if that's where our monetary things are, you know, we need to be looking at how to survive without it. Uh, those are things that cross my mind when things like this happen. And I've been involved with a lot of volunteering through the years and saw some really heart-rending things. Still, you know, if they're alive, it's a good thing. It's a good day, as opposed to the people that, you know, that lost their life to a storm or to a fire.
Big brother wants digital to monitor. Yeah.
Right. But, you know, if we have some kind of tragedy happening in our area, you know, how are we going to be able to buy things if it's a debit card? If I remember reading a book about, it's a pretty good sized book, about the San Francisco fire. They were trying to blow up the town because they couldn't control the fire. They were taking dynamite and blowing up sections of the town to try to make a swath of area of the wooden buildings that were gone. That way it wouldn't burn over that area and get to, but it wasn't, it was going over the top anyway. And they waited too long besides that. So all of the banks decided to put their money into this one really famous bank that had a concrete walls to surround and protect your money. It was supposed to be the safest place. Uh, so everybody did. And all of that money got burned up because the heat was so intense. There was one Italian guy, I forgot his last name.
During an emergency, bartering becomes a currency. Yeah, bartering
Exactly.
services, food,
Exactly.
everything. Yeah.
And that Italian guy he tried to get to that bank and he didn't make it. He had to keep going. The fire drove him further and further away. He ended up being one of the few people that actually had currency. And that bank eventually became Bank of America.
really?
So I don't think it's under the same ownership. Probably changed hands, and as I recall, now the Chinese own it, but or a large section of it. So what I'm saying is, paper money or whatever, the tragedies that we have, fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, they cause us time, give us time to think. We need to think about these things. Um, because when you're not prepared, it can cause you to be very, very scared whenever that time comes. When you are more prepared, it's less of that. And you've got, it's not to make yourself go be a braggart, and you're actually giving your own self relief and maybe helping someone else with the things that you were prepared for. There was a lady I met at Lowe's, and she had her house just lost electricity, and she had no place to. She couldn't get to her down to her street after she was at work at Lowe's. So the neighbors just down the street said, "Hey, you can live with us," and she didn't know them until your power comes on. You can just stay with us. And she said, "I was so grateful. I didn't even know these people." Those are the things that we can do for one another, uh, and we should be doing these things. That's really what I've been trying to do with this channel, is to share with you guys what I have learned. And believe me, the comments from other people, I've learned things from them also. Um, and then, other people's channels, I've learned things. And it's not just trivia. They're things that I apply to my everyday work. Um, and so I think that if we all just shared what we know and what we have in order to help our fellow man, we would be casting our bread upon the waters and watching it come back in tenfold. So I suggest we try to figure out ways to be more capable of dealing with the tragedies that come into life. And I'm not saying have a whole swath of money. I'm saying do the simple things. Think about the simple things. I don't want you to, there's a saying, if you think about the past all the time, you are depressed, usually. If you think about the future all the time, you will be anxious. If you think about now, you will be happy. I don't know that that's totally true, because you need to think about the future some. So maybe you need to be anxious a little bit so you can be prepared. I would hope that we all have a place that we can think of, or friends that we can think of that we can turn to. And if not, believe in people. I know that I've met quite a few people that are not happy with humankind. I personally like human people. I like people. And that kind of has cost me, but I don't think of it as a no return kind of thing. It's just that I do things not to make other people happy, as far as getting approval from them, is to do things so that my conscience rests with me. And I don't have to feel as much guilt or regret, because I did a lot in my book. I reached out and helped other people that I could help. Those are things that we'll end up having to do. And I don't think it's going to come down to a Democrat, Republican, or Libertarian, or any kind of race issue. It's going to be people, because we all bleed red. We all sweat. We all go through the things that make life hard. And that's why so many immigrants are happy to be here, because at this place here, we have so much more than many, many other countries do. I would like to see, things get better, but that's what the goal of everybody is. That should be, is to get better. So look around and see if there's things that you can do to get prepared to help your fellow person, your fellow man, even if the tragedy in the way of a natural disaster didn't get to you. But hey, maybe I can have some canned goods that I can give to somebody if I know them, I met them. Um, those are in the kindness that we need to show to each other, even when we're stressed out. That's hard to do, but it should be done. We should show the kindness and the tactfulness, despite the fact that they're upset themselves and might have said something cross with us. So, those are things that we could look at also. When it comes to preparing your homes, perhaps you shouldn't wait to the last minute to have plywood already cut for all your windows to be covered up so that flying debris doesn't go and hit your windows. Then wind goes in there and blows the roof off and tears down the drywall. It might be a good idea to go ahead and have somebody, if not yourself, cut some plywood that will fit each window. And you can mark on that, you know, window 1, 2, door, and you can measure it, put it up there so it'll fit right in. And you have the ability to last longer through high winds, uh, and maybe even keep people out that are at ill will, because that's one less thing that's not easy to break into. So think about maybe already having some inexpensive plywood stacked up in a shed somewhere or in a closet behind the clothes, so that all you got to do is take a screw gun and put screws to that plywood and protect your windows. That's not so much the glass, although the glass itself is labor intensive and hard to find sometimes, particularly after a storm. But when the wind gets in that home, it blows out everything else. That wind, or just rushes by that open window, it sucks everything out, pulls the roof down. But that's why I'm trying to suggest that maybe you ought to prepare by having that plywood. That's something I need to do. Uh, put the plywood where you can find it and say, okay, we got this storm coming. That's what shutters were for, to be ready for the bad storm. So you could just hinge your shutters there and close and put a latch on it, and you'd be able to survive. That's what it was, something that you would use to protect your windows from major storms. So you might have to consider that. Uh, I know that personally, for several people that I have done work for over the years, they needed to figure out how to keep electricity going. Uh, and I need to do it. I was under so much pressure to get it done that I didn't do a video on it, but I probably will, including me. But we used a generator to power the house on a 30 amp breaker, so we could get both sides of that panel on with the 220 leg, uh, to get 30 amps of power to the house with the main breaker turned off, so it doesn't go back to the and shock people that are on the power lines if they're not prepared to be shocked. And that way you can have lights, plugs,
Fridges, freezers.
microwave, maybe. You may have to, your refrigerator and freezers. You probably won't be able to run your water heater unless you shut everything off. Uh, uh, but it makes it where it's possible to. We had Starlink, so as long as we had power, we had internet. Maybe that's something you could think about. What I used was a cord that goes to uh, a generator that's made for going to a generator, and it plugs into a box. And I'll have to get you guys, I'll have to do a video on doing it, both in making. I made one cord and found another, although everything was getting bought up. Uh,
You worked till midnight that night on Monday.
so what we're talking about is something that will let you get by. So having a generator will allow you to have electricity to charge your phone up so you can call other people, let them know you're okay, or check on other people that you know, even though you don't have power. Um, Maybe a little battery powered saw could be charged up so you can cut some more trees out of your yard, something like that. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a small chainsaw, but those things require maintenance and you need to know a little bit about how to operate one so you don't hurt yourself. But you can still have an electric chainsaw that would allow you. So now you're talking about a generator, electric chainsaw, or a battery powered chainsaw. Uh, Other tools like an axe that allows you to get tree limbs out of the way. All those things are important. An air compressor to air up your tires or something like that. I know one of the things that happened was that because of lack of electricity, there were no gas stations in a large swath of area. So the few gas stations that were close by, they were getting overwhelmed with people trying to buy gas. And I believe they had issue with trying to keep up with it. They would uh, tape off the handles of gas pumps and try to restrict how many people can pump at one time. And uh, but I could see where there would be shortage of gas from one station if all the rest of them were hard to get to and maybe even hard to get fuel to. So the things that would be shortages of, and what I saw is generators at first, and all the things that take generators and get them plugged into the house. The second thing I saw was lots and lots of sleeping bags and battery powered lights. Uh, those are they're going to be a shortage of them right when you are trying to come out of your own home, the own wreckage of your neighbors, and you have to go to find a place to buy them. Maybe it'd be a good idea just to have them.
Buy them a little bit at a time.
Right.
Buy each thing a little bit at a time and just keep it in there.
So, those are things that you really don't think about all the little details until it happens.
Like if you live out in the country, when the lights go out, it is freaking dark.
It's dark in the country. It was dark in Rogers when it took down power lines everywhere, and it blew so hard that it just snapped them off. So what another thing that happens is half-inch plywood just disappears. Everybody's putting plywood on their roof and their openings that they got tore open. Tarps disappear. They get bought up. Plastic gets bought up. Those are all things that, it's really not that big a deal to purchase them. You don't think, well, what do I need that for? Well, you need them, that's for sure. Uh, there's a lot of little things that you take for granted. I know that in the hurricanes, there were a lot of people that didn't have food because they didn't have electricity. And guess what? Electricity is what is used to get your water. So if that area that pumps the water to the town doesn't have electricity to your area, you might not have water. So now you're retrieving water from the back of toilets, from your water heater. It's so you might think about a water purifier. And when it comes to the wreckage and everything out there, I mean, in hurricanes, you could have deep holes of water with lots of debris inside that hole of water. So that when you step into it, it holds you down. You can't get back up because you went down, pushed everything down. Then when you try to get up, it's hanging on to you. So people in Louisiana, in New Orleans, died stepping in holes where a big bunch of water was and a lot of debris, and they couldn't get out of it. So you need to be conscious of the things that are short that you're going to be short of. You know, there was one of the people that I know for a long time, 20 plus years, said, "Hey, you going to be have enough time to put up a bunch of fence for me?" I said, "How much?" He said, 250 feet plus my landlord, the guy that I'm renting from, his fence is down too. I said, "Let me tell you something. You need to buy your fencing material now because it's selling out now." So guess what? Fences went down everywhere. Privacy fence anyway.
Cattle fences too.
Yeah.
Because remember, RG was
Trees
saying
fell across fences, chain link fences, all kinds of fences.
half a mile of cattle fence down.
Yeah. And so you need to think about all the things there are going to be a shortage of. It's kind of handy to have a truck because you can pick up something and bring it. If you're just in a car, you might have some issue getting things brought to you or having them delivered. As you know, Lowe's didn't have electricity for a while. Their backup generators didn't even work. Well, I don't know. I went on to other places, but you know, it's uh, being without air conditioning causes older people to suffer pretty hard too. So you want to be conscious of the fact that these things are going to happen. Maybe we just lose power because a terrorist attack on a like I think on the East Coast there was a gas line that was controlled by computers, and the terrorists took control of the gas lines and wanted a ransom.
And I think that was in the winter too, wasn't it?
So yeah, I don't remember when, but you know, it was something that we can expect to happen. There's a lot of hackers out there from other countries or this country that would hold the electronics for our utilities ransom until that city or state or federal government paid for them to release it. They're that good. In the meantime, we are the ones who are not prepared to deal with these things. Think about where would you go? What would you need to survive without water, without electricity? What is it? What are the things that you're going to need? What is going to be in your go bag? What is going to be the place that you go to in case of several different kinds of emergencies?
Or are you going to convince your wife to go with you?
Right. You have a lot of things to think about. You know, there's a lot of things to prepare for. And I would like all of us to be more prepared than what we are probably. Maybe some of us are doing really, really well. And so now we need to start thinking about how we can help others whenever the situation comes up. Uh, People with big corporations, they need write-offs. How about you help make your own company donation to directly helping people through some kind of charity that you make for with your corporation or company. I think that would be a kind gesture, and it's a tax write-off if you're doing it properly. So why not be kind? Actually giving you a situation where you can actually write it off on your taxes by helping people in your neighborhood. That's something we should all think about, though. Is whether or not we can be kind to others, or are we going to be the person that has a gun that we stick in somebody's face because we're scared they're going to break in? I know that all those things are possible, that, you know, possible scenarios that people might think in a bigger city, particularly, or even in the country. You can have people with no morals in the country also. But, you know, a number of times in the past, I have found that the people who you thought were not good people because of the way things looked, if you got to know them, they were good people when the chips are down. You should never ever judge anybody by their looks. You should just be cautious with anybody. I think all your serial killers, they don't have serial killer tattooed on their forehead. Most of them looked really legit and capable looking and seemed to be nice people. So let's not be fooled by that. But we should be conscious of the fact that we need to help one another, and it will come back to us. I promise you, it will come back to you. It will make you a better person to give of yourself to other people. It will, I guarantee you, it will make you a better person if you do that. So that's really what I wanted to convey to most of the people out there, is that we should do kind things to one another, for one another, because of one another. We should share our knowledge freely. That doesn't cost anything for us to have gotten the knowledge. And sharing, we don't have to you don't have to share your stock market tips or what business to get into. You don't have to. I mean, I do all the time because I can't do all the things that are out there that are available to do. But I think that we should all consider.
Here's something. I put, why don't everyone put in the comments what they would put in a go bag and what they'd want to stock up on. What would you want to have? What can you think of that you would need?
Yeah, so why don't you share your list of what you would put in a go bag?
Maybe we can get a big list going.
I need to go over mine. Mine just is developed into till the backpack is too small.
Way too small.
I'm gonna have to get a great big backpack.
That's just what happens when you marry a nurse.
Her purse is big too.
Your go bag gets big.
So there's a go bag, and then she's got her purse, which has a lot of aspirin and Excedrin and ibuprofen and all those little things that are,
EpiPen.
Yeah, she has an EpiPen. So think about those things and share with one another, and try to be capable. And as like Brian Hall, y'all said, be prepared, not scared. It's a pretty neat thing to say, but we need to be prepared. We are going to be scared when it comes to a tornado. There's just nothing, or a fire or a flood. But you should have your plan of escape before it happens. A fire could happen. In the most unusual places, an explosion could happen. You can't plan for a plane to land on the ground near you.
Know who your go-to medical person is.
Yeah, who is somebody that you know that could help you with medical problems?
Who could bandage you up?
Those are all things that we should think about. And maybe if you're worried you might forget them under a pressure situation, write them down and put them inside that go bag.
Or make a notebook. That's something that we used to encourage when I worked in EMS.
Make a notebook.
Have a notebook that has, you do da-da-da-da-da.
Who your doctor is.
Who your doctor is, what you're going to do.
What medicines you're allergic to.
What you're going to grab.
Yeah. All those things are very, very important to have in some place where other people might be the ones trying to help you. And
have all your medications and your medical conditions somewhere in your phone.
Yeah, it could be in your phone or in your purse, your wallet.
That way, if you get hurt, somebody can find that. Yeah. And they can treat you safely. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It is. It's things that we take for granted. Electricity is always going to be there. The phone service is always going to be there.
Internet's going to always be there.
Internet's going to always be there. Food's always going to be there. It's not necessarily true. All those things can be lost. And it's humbling. It is a way for everyone to realize that we all need to be aware that whenever a tragedy happens, it's all people that are involved. A tornado doesn't care how much money you got. The tornado doesn't care how privileged a position you have. So you need to think about that. Be conscious of it. Be aware of it. And when it all clears away and the electricity comes on, you may be a handy person yourself working on your home. Maybe not. Who are you going to call? What person are you going to call to help you fix things? Who would that be? Those are things you need to think about. I am privileged to be involved with a number of people, and they just call me up, hey, what do I do? And some of them are hours away that call me. But, I'm happy to share with them what to do. Why, the fan is not working anymore, or what can I do to get electricity to my home? Where can you get a generator? Where can you get materials? Because your repair person is already out there doing repairs. He's already out there. He's
What time did you and Clay leave the house? 7 a.m.?
Well, the truck got tore up. The back of the truck got flipped off and broke the windshield of one truck and hit another truck, and the door got bent and broke the window. So we had to fix the cover over it. That took about 30 minutes to fix the cover, and then we went into town. I think we started going in town about 6 o'clock. 5:30 it got light enough to see, and 6 o'clock we were rolling. We went into town. I think that's about right.
That sounds about right from the videos I got. That looks like, I think that's around the timestamps.
I was getting calls to go into Rogers to help people that had trees on their house, and can you come help me determine if this has ruined my house, or that kind of thing. So most of it was trying to get to places. It was hard to get around, trees down and so on and so on. But we were able to get to where we needed to go. It just took a lot of finagling to get there. Nobody had a terrible tragedy that we knew. I saw lots of people that, I had driven by, and their houses were not in good shape. Their vehicles were smashed from big trees or whatever.
I was going to say, a lot of vehicles got killed.
There's a lot of big trees in this town.
There was.
They're not so big anymore. So we went out roaming around trying to get from one place to another, and then I got a call. I had to go to a town an hour away where a tree took out the corner of a mobile home, and took out the whole bathroom wall. So we went over there and took a look at it and saw what we need to do to get her. And we put a tarp over that. So, and until such time as the insurance gets involved and says what they will do and what they won't do, there was some discussion as to who's actually responsible for it. They have insurance on it, but the Department of Transportation had a building or a property right next door to this park, and the trees were like 70, 80 foot high, and they were leaning toward the mobile homes, and there was a lot of people asking, the owners were asking them, could you do something about the trees? And they said, not until something happens. We're not authorized to do that. So they had to wait until trees fell, and now their insurance is slow to act. So these people are doing a lot of damage. It wasn't even on the property that they are on. It was on the Department of Transportation's property. So I would bet that's they will end up having to pay for all the damage done to those houses. I don't know. They are a government agency. So that we went all the way up there. Uh, things like closing off sections of the house. I helped the lady that was there. She wanted to know if she had to leave because she didn't know where to go. And it's like, no, we're going to set this up where you can stay here. And so I put a tarp on the outside. We closed off the bathroom, sealed up the broken skylight, and closed off the vents going into the bathroom so that she wouldn't have wasted air conditioning going in there. Uh, Made sure she was okay for water and electricity. She was. Uh, Checked on 5 other homes that had been hit by trees. One, two, at least 4, probably 5, and helped each one of them determine what to do regards, insurance, some things like that. One of them had her grandkids there, and they did a fantastic job getting that. She was in such a way that she couldn't get out of her fancy camper. Couldn't get out. So they had to come over, and they did a great job getting all the trees off of her. She had 3 holes in the roof and damage to the slide out. Another one had a house damage on top of his roof where a tree landed on the roof itself, and he wanted to know if uh, it had made a hole because he's going to have an adjuster show up as soon as possible. So we climbed up on the roof, took pictures to give it to him, and he was a little bit alarmed because he's not exceptionally friendly. I was working my best to try to be friendly with him. I have always been, but he tends to be pretty cranky. But he was grateful and he was nice and polite, and we took care of it and gave him his picture so he could not have to climb up there at 70 something years old and not practiced at it. Uh, I asked people, the owners of the park, did they want me to be involved with it? They didn't seem to want me to be involved. They wanted insurance to take care of it, and they particularly wanted they have insurance for all of it, but they wanted the Department of Transportation to take care of their responsibility since they were told years ago and been continually told to take care of that. But I don't know that it will actually happen. But I'm here. In the middle of all that, I had a sewer system fail for a small mobile home park. The sewage pumps, one of them just quit. The other one lost electricity, filled up. The water flooded down the ravine, caught a log, hit the pipes that push it up to the fields where they are pumping it to. And everybody was upset. They had gotten electricity just a little before I got there. So they were pretty cranky to deal with. And I wasn't happy about having to deal with somebody running the sewer the whole time that we were trying to put the pipe together with water flowing by. That's not a thing you want to do. And instead of being grateful that somebody was there to do it, because everybody was busy, but I went way out of my way to get over there, they were pretty grouchy. Pretty grouchy. So I was trying to be polite with them. But they, because I work for the person who owns the park, they're upset with that person because they're having to pay higher rent than they did before. Doesn't matter that everything's going up. They're mad at the owner and assume that I am directly connected to the owner by partnership or something. And in reality, they want to know, do I work just for them? I was like, no, not even 2%, not even 2% of my of my income comes from working for that group, and they were really trying hard to grab hold of my responsibility to them. But anyway, I've had to dodge that quite a bit. Because I'm there to fix things doesn't mean I'm not responsible for what the landlord does. I'm not saying the landlord did anything wrong, just saying I'm not responsible, but they're still going to tell me what they think about the landlord. So I had to deal with that for quite a while. Uh, that's a number of things. So, like, if you have a sewer system, like the city sewer and so on, guess what? A lot of that's electric too. There's electricity involved with the water system and the sewer and electricity and the internet. If your routers don't have electricity, they don't kick out your internet. And if the cable company doesn't have electricity, they can't get your internet. If your cell phone is overloaded, your provider is overloaded, you don't have internet. If the tower's down, don't have electricity, you don't have internet. So that internet is always there. So I was just trying to review some things with you guys since I just went through that. I wish I had perhaps I will do a more detailed discussion about what we can do to prepare for it. But I just want you guys to be conscious of that. Uh, just want you to think about it. All right, I'm going to let you go, and I will see you guys later.